Hey, what's up, Liron here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to draw without knowing how to draw. This is actually a snippet of my upcoming Watercolor Realism course where I discuss in this particular one drawing, as I know it's something that worries a lot of people. I'm going to show you how to simply tackle it in a way that works for watercolor. So next up we have a more organic shape here, and I'm going to focus on one of the apples, and we will focus on the values, how to draw the shapes of values you see. So remember, lines do not exist, we have shapes. So let's start, and we're going to just start with a circle. You can get it wrong, you can be not 100% accurate, it's fine. One measurement I will take is kind of figuring out, I'm going to get rid of this excess and weird inaccurate shape. I would like to figure out if the horizontal to vertical measurement is kind of similar, and it's also similar in the reference photo. So that's kind of the dimensions, an almost perfect circle. Now look at the shapes we have here. I don't care that there's this stem here, and I'm not going to go ahead and start drawing its different parts and then, you know, starting to really define the lines coming out of there. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is the large shapes of value. So what do we see here? We see a change in value right around here, goes darker, right? And then it kind of goes inside. And then we have the details of the stem, which is a little lighter in some spots. Yes, there are the lines coming out of it, but that's not important. What's important is this transition from light to dark. And then look at this major shape of shadow here. Goes like this, like that, goes around. And that's what you'd call the maybe core shadow of the apple. So we have a shadow here, shadow there. And look at the shapes of the highlights. There is a shape here for a highlight. There is a shape there for a highlight. These are all highlights. And then there's one pretty prominent highlight right here in the front. Like this. See? It's just lighter. And lest we forget the cast shadow by the apple. Casts towards us. Okay? And then if we really want to bring some details in, I can go ahead and start darkening these, which I wasn't planning on, but let me show you how I'm going to do that. And it's all based on these shapes of value. At this stage, the drawing is done, believe it or not. So I'm going to jump into time-lapse and do some values and then come back and talk about it. So look at what happened here. By first drawing the actual shapes themselves using outlines, we have defined for ourselves what to shade in where. And we would have gone through the same process had it been watercolor. And if I were to frame it, so if this was watercolor, we would have followed that same process, and we would ended up with the same result of painting the, and I'm just going to add a bit of a darker background to the top to contrast maybe with the highlighted part. But we would have added, we would have done an initial wash, maybe skipping some of those highlights. Let me blend this a bit. We would have done an initial wash, skipping the highlights, then added the core shadow, and we would have gone through the same thing. But if we start to actually draw what we think is there, we'll end up with things like noses that look like this. You know, these noses that are drawn very literally. That's just not the right way. Or lips that go like this, when in fact the lips are much more influenced by the patterns of light and shadow on them. So maybe this part of the lip is in the shadow, that part is in the shadow, and then that's how you get their shape defined, right? The nostril, you don't have to draw this line and that line. You hint at this line by drawing the shadow behind it. There's all sorts of things like that, but you have to learn and train yourself to focus on the shapes rather than lines. So I hope seeing the process gives you some encouragement. This is just a small part of the course that's going to deal with how to achieve realism consistently in watercolor, and I did think it was a good idea to address drawing a bit more. There are a few more demos related to drawing, just to get that out of the way, and then the watercolor stuff. So I hope you'll check it out. For now, you can check out the frustration-free watercolor course, link in the description box below. You can check out my drawing courses as well. You can check out the gallery if you want to get a painting, and I will talk to you again real soon.